So we are into our second series. Snockstar's team is up 1-0 now. Auriel going to try to get on the board, and Mixu has decided to play Celestials because he does not believe that Vanguard versus Celestial is playable at the moment. So is he doing the thing? Oh no, he's building prisms. Okay, I thought this might be the shenanigans where you go and you I thought this might be like the mass morph core shenanigans that has been roughly nerfed away, but he is building prisms. He is doing some interesting things. I'm not totally sure what's happening here. I gotta... Friends, my father taught me to never tell a lie. I'm not totally sure what's happening right now, but I am excited to find out because at the moment, there is a creation chamber down. It is going to be surged, and we have stuff coming out of there. Link nodes as well. Couple prisms really just to get a little bit more money, and this is funky. This is getting interesting. So link node turning into a strike node, that is going to be a little bit faster. And you know what, this is just not going to work. Well actually, wait a minute. Second, maybe this is okay because the first Argent came out a little bit faster for Mixu, and it also had these power banks. That means it fights a little bit more, but now there's a second one, and it's 2 versus 1. Both Sovereign's Watches have been used. It does equalize the Argent counts a little bit, but also, are we Sovereigns? No, we're not Sovereigns. And the link node is going to be done just in time, but Sovereign's Watch is going to kill it off. Yeah, this does not work. Mixu had an idea. He's going to lose everything. Game 1 on Jag and Ma is just kind of dead. It's over. This timing has not worked. The arc ship is very low. And Mixu is going to tap out just like that. Sorry. Auriel's going to tap out. Mixu wins game 1. I got totally mixed up by the colors. Anyways, it's going to be 1-0 lead for Mixu. So here we are, game 2. This time we have our scores proper. Auriel is down a game. I know what's happening. I promise. Duff Latvia, LV. I read that as Ivy, like 4, like Duff the 4th. Oh yeah, Harmel. I am about, not sci-fi. I mean, yeah, it's always funny reading Sanderson because Sanderson is like the hard sci-fi of fantasy. And I guess technically it is kind of sci-fi in some ways because there's world hopping, and some of his worlds do actually have technology. But he's like the hard sci-fi of fantasy because he's like, okay, I'm going to spend the entire 4th book of my crowning achievement, which is the Stormlight Archive. I'm going to spend the entire 4th book not really telling a story, just exploring the, I mean, he does tell a story, but just exploring the mechanics of this magic system that I've made, which is very much like a hallmark of hard sci-fi. Anyways, I'm about a quarter of the way through Wind and Truth, and that's pretty fun. I don't know if we count that's a sci-fi, but it's good enough. As for now, taking a look at what we got here, Mixu is adding in his 3rd collection array. There we go. There's the production. So creation chamber, 3 collection arrays, and he's posturing in such a way where it looks like he might try to get aggressive here. Where he says, you know what? Okay, I'm going to go. I'm only going to take 1 of the double bases. I'm going to move onto this right side, and this does unlock some things. Although this morph core is going to go back to take his nat. Maybe not. The morph core is going to go take his natural. What this does mean, though, is once you get an Argent out of this, you will be able to go and drag the slime. Well, actually, no, the slimes aren't easily draggable. So I was going to say you could go drag the slimes and use a Sovereign's Watch to go in and take the slimes down. That's not really a thing. So for now, we are on 3 collection arrays coming out of Auriel. 3 arrays, 3 chambers. And for Mixu, it's 2 chambers, 4 arrays. So a little bit more money, certainly not as much production. And that can potentially be a problem as this 4th chamber is now on the map for Auriel. It's prime, it's forward, and the aggression is going to get started in earnest. Auriel, yeah, it took a lot of damage and just their attack didn't quite work out in game number 1. But game 2, well, we're going to have to see if this thing is going to work out. So it's 3 chambers versus 4. We got a bunch of power banks, no strike nodes, Nothing like that at the moment. So it's really just going to be, it's going to be 5 chambers on 3 arrays. That is actually so much. I know this Argent is very, very exposed, but you know, at the very least, certainly this power bank can go in Sovereign's Watch, and that means the chamber, theoretically, it's not going to get a lot done, but Sovereign's Watch is not going to last long enough, and there's just not enough here. There's just really, we're looking at a bunch of Argents versus just about 3. I mean, yes, there are 4 chambers now, but the numbers are not really all that incredible. It's still 4 versus 5, and it's 2 Argents versus a lot more Argents. And Mixu also, because he has to Sovereign's Watch this, means that he does not have the energy to prime all of these chambers, which means he's on red energy. Only 1 chamber is primed, and that means his production is non-existent. This is cinema versus cinema in its greatest form. Mixu tried to play a little greedy, and Auriel said, yeah, no, absolutely not. That is not acceptable. We're not going to play that game. And ran across the map. He's winning fights on both sides here, and Mixu is, I don't see a world where this works. Latvian Duff, thank you so much for the tier 1 prime as well. Thank you for no longer watching for free. But yeah, this game is over at this point. It's a lot of Argents to just about no Argents, and yeah, Mixu's still trying, but a single Argent at a time does not really spark joy. You can just, yeah, you do exactly what it is that Auriel's doing. Just park your way around the prime battery or the prime array. Now, what would be really cool, and again, the game is pretty over, but what would be very cool would be to see him go in and change the prime array. So now he's producing not in the middle of the fight, not losing these Argents kind of as they pop. And again, he still probably dies, but it would be kind of a cool solution, because the problem with this setup is, yes, Mixu is on 3 array, so his economy is just kind of back to where his opponent was, but all of his production's here, and he will eventually lose all of his production. So it's not like we're in this scenario where, okay, you know, my economy's reset back to my opponent's, I'm gonna be fine. No, he's gonna lose every single creation chamber, and if you lose every chamber, you can't really take the game back. It's just too expensive. Poriforian, this is not tank. This is the Stormgate team challenge, which is where Auriel and Snoxter said, you know what? We're going to do a clan war thing where Auriel's going to pick 4 other players, and Mixu's going to pick 4 other players, and they're all going to get matched up in 5 best of 5s is really going to be the story. So Mixu trying to go buy some time, but as we can see, more stuff does in fact beat less stuff. Even if the energy, there are some energy criteria there, it does not really matter. Auriel ties it up, and we are 1 apiece. Yeah, no worries, Duff LV. I was just more like, you know, these do mean different things, and just wanted to make, like, just so you're not thinking, just wanted to make sure that you were not of the false impression that he was like designing core game systems. I mean, I did talk to him about that. I'm like, you know, at what point does art ever go and influence game design? Or is it just game design influences art? And he's like, yeah, you know, maybe sometimes. But primarily it is game. You make the art that goes around the game design. And, you know, actually, to be fair to Alan Dilling, he's like, yeah, you know, I tell my artists all the time, but we are game design, we are developers first, artists second. You know, we need to make things that don't only just look cool as art, but also that works well in the game. So they do, you know, he does consider himself a developer. But anyways, and yeah, Duff, I mean, doing prep, I can't imagine doing an interview and not prepping for it. It just seems wild to me. But as we take a look at this, it's going to be three array coming out of Mixu right now. Probably going to take this as the 4th base. Generally what you do. And Auriel, same thing. 1, 2, 3. Going to go Sovereign's Watch the natural a little bit further forward on the 2nd chamber. But kind of, well, I was going to say kind of mirrored builds, but it is only... Oh, okay. This, yeah. Well, I don't know if this is a big difference, but difference is set up here where you go and certainly a Sovereign's Watched on the health camp to get most of the camps, and the Argent's going to kill up the rest of it. But the 2nd array or the 2nd chamber is not kind of paired up in the main base like we're seeing right now. Instead, it's going to go and take the energy camp as quickly as possible, which actually is really interesting if you think about it. Because if you're going and you're taking the energy camp, which is exactly what Mixu is going to try to do, that energy camp is incredibly useful. Because literally everything in Celestials, and I think this might be one of the things that gets hit with the rework, because Argents are kind of very binary. They have power, they hit like a truck. They don't have power, they don't have energy, they don't do anything. I think that may be when we get Celestial version 2, I think that may cause some problems, but or maybe one of the things that ends up getting looked at. But for now, getting this energy camp matters quite a bit because it gives you more passive energy income, which is incredibly useful. And look at this. Mixu doesn't look up the high ground. He doesn't see it. He doesn't know. He has no idea that this attack is coming in earnest. And man, he had an opportunity to kneecap this thing before it was ever even getting started. Just go and kill off the Argents as they rallied across to get heavy damage to the chamber, get damage done on this on the arc ship before things get started. But now, well, showing up in the main base. And there is an arc station, right? We do have a Sovereign's Watch going to go down. Immediately, the array is going to get lifted up and should be fine, I think. Do we have photo restoration? We do not. We do have a Guardian Nexus. It's not researching anything. Scan goes down, and that is going to be a dead collection chamber, but also Argents without energy versus Argents with energy. This is absolutely something that you would think would go Mixu's way, but overkill is very much a thing that exists. And that's not great. So Kree are on the map, but we do not have rollout. It's not started. It's not done. And because Mixu has lost his main base, it's 3 mining versus 2 mining. It's 3 money versus 2 money. The economy's bad. Mixu was just a bad boy. He got coal for Christmas this year is the long and short of it. He just doesn't have what he needs. And now, yes, the Kree are getting on top, but you cut away from those. And it's going to kind of be fine. Prisms, they're going to get taken down, and this is one of those things where Mixu had a really nice defense in game number 1 against Auriel. The Auriel trying to maybe punish him for not being a Celestial player, but this was very holdable if Mixu had just gone up the high ground and checked the camp. Instead, it's kind of a bad spot. It's a really bad spot. Mixu was trying to get himself up to 150 Therium to go and get rollout to make sure his Kree can be useful, but Kree without rollout don't do a lot. They just kind of chase things down and are sad. And at this point, I mean, it's sadness for Mixu once again. This Mad Sergeant play is exactly, you need a Prism. And at this point with the Guardian Nexus done, there's not really a whole lot of saving graces. We're on 3 chamber versus 5. There's more income for Auriel as well as he just goes on top, spams things down. And Kree just don't do enough damage. They do bonus damage to light. Argents are heavy. So yeah, technically melee versus ranged can be pretty good, but for the most part, they're ignorable. They don't do splash damage. It's whatever. Mixu's going to get forced out, and Auriel is going to go up 2 games to 1. So in the upper right in this 4th game, perhaps the final game of our 2nd series, I was actually doing play nurtures. Yeah, the upper right, it's Auriel, bottom left, Mixu. And what are they going to do? But we're talking about getting a Shakespearean insult calendar. The one that I got that made me giggle was, "Thou art the damned doorkeeper to every coistrel that comes inquiring for his tib." Which means yeah. I can say that because no one knows what it means, but it's not fit for polite company. You can think about what that means all you want. Hello there, Sword SC2. So for now, this is game number 4. Certainly if Auriel wins this, gets himself 10% of the prize pool. By the way, if you do want to support this tournament, ! Matcherino will add to the prize pool. Please go do such a thing. It's a good thing to do. So 10% goes to every best of 5 winner, and then 50% goes to whichever team wins the entire thing. So there is incentive to win your best of 5, even if your team is down 4 games to 0, which seems unlikely at this point, because this is a setup where Auriel's team is down 1. Auriel is on series point. So for now, expanding downwards, not even taking the natural. So this is a double array setup as Mixu, he's the one expanding across the map right now. This is not a proxy. This is nothing like that. This is just classic Celestial mechanics. You start to run across the map, you get bases on your morph course as you run across the map, and you put heavy pressure, which means that Auriel's kind of in this awkward scenario where they don't see each other. We got, what is this? Triple array, triple chamber versus triple chamber in a kind of an awkward spot. So we're just waiting for the artisans to come together onto the high ground, gonna try to snipe this base. And how exactly does Auriel choose to respond? Yep, well, the prism's dead, and certainly this will force an overcharge. And, you know, losing the prism versus losing the array is not that bad. A prism is technically on an array, right? A prism is technically 12, like 13% of your economy, because an array is about 4 prisms. So it's 4 prisms plus an array is full mining. So the math is a little weird because a fully saturated celestial base mines more than mines more per minute than a fully saturated infernal base, or it's weird. But we can say, yeah, you know what? Losing the prism is a lot better than losing the array. And now I'm surprised we're not seeing any pressure on any of the production. He's just running across the map, but he will try to go and snipe this base. But even with a morph core, even with some potential high ground vision, there's just not enough damage at the moment. So this is getting awkward in the extreme. This base from Auriel is going to get shut down as well very quickly. We're going to move into 1 base setups. And, well, really, it's going to be a 0 base setup for Mixu right now. He's, yes, putting pressure on this base, and I think this array is, yeah, it's not lifting. It's just dead. That will fall down. But Mixu's actively not mining. Take a look at his Luminite setup. He's going to try to he's going to try to mine with his prism, but there is, yeah, there's an Argent that's going to go take that down. And at this point, both arrays are lifted. It's all on the, really on the creep money that he can find. As we're going to see how this thing is going to go. And, well, okay, this is a little bit awkward as well. So Sovereign's Watch has been forced. 1 power bank will fall. And because this health camp is here, it's going to go get taken by Mixu, which actually is a really important thing. So Auriel has options. He can go and try to fight the army, which looks like is not going to be the answer at the moment. Or he can try to shut down the production, which means that his opponent is not really going to be able to do all that much. Which is we're not going to be able to produce out of this, which is the latter option. Problem is for Auriel, 0 collection arrays right now. Has lost every single prism, has lost every single array. Does not have the money to build another prism either. Doesn't have the money to build anything. Yes, you can go and take some creeps down and get some Luminite and make it happen in that way, but at the moment doesn't really have a lot of money. Now he's going to be able to get a prism at the very least, maybe drop a morph core, maybe get an array off into a corner. Mixu is mining though, and that is what matters in these late games. Mixu's just getting a little drip drab of money, just a tiny bit. As a prism, I assume, well, maybe he made another Argent, I'm not sure. He went down in money just a little bit, but okay, these Argents, they're going to get trapped into a corner, and it's a lot of energy versus not a lot of energy. This is not the fight you're looking for. There's no Sovereign's Watch, and Mixu is going to find his opponent. Yeah, there are some heals, but you just run right on through. And Mixu is going to send us into game number 5. Does a great job of dealing with everything. Does a fantastic job of this base trade. Shuts down the economy just a little bit more than his opponent does. And Auriel is going to get forced to tap out. We go to game 5. And Mixu back on the board. So it's a 5th and final game. We're on Titan's Causeway. It's a short map. It's a map that you can go and do all kinds of celestial nonsense. All kinds of celestial nonsense. You can cut the trees down. You can run to the right side, take these 2 bases and attack into your opponent's natural. There's a whole host of options. And the question, as always, is what exactly is it that Mixu wants to do? Kelso saying, I cannot wait to see another CVC masterclass. Neither can I. It's going to be a lot of fun. So for now, we got a morph core and, yep, okay, there we go. So rather quick stuff on the map. Rather quick, well, really rather quick creation chamber, not really quickly moving into some sort of collection array nonsense or into a bunch of collection arrays. And okay, I thought this person was going to go take Therium. Apparently not, but Mixu's going to scout with it instead. Because it's not, we talked about it, it's 13% of one base's economy. A prism matters. It does make a little bit more money, but it's not the biggest of deals. So certainly with this, what's it called? The prismatic accelerator, they move very quickly once they get up and going, which means you can use for them to scout. This is something that Bly loves to do. And you're going to say, okay, well, similar opening, double power bank, creation chamber. I'm not seeing anything on any of the other Luminite setups. So yeah, I kind of know what's happening. This is fine. Now, when we talk about prisms and being useful or not useful, I am firmly of the opinion that prisms should matter more. And so right now it's you go and I forget what the numbers are, but 4 prisms are worth roughly as much as a collection array. So you can kind of drip feed yourself by that perspective. But the way I think it really should work is we're going to use easy numbers. Okay. Just for the sake of example, a collection array should mine 100 Luminite per minute and say, let's make each, again, for the sake of example here, a prism should mine 50. Okay. Unencumbered. Hey, Splint, thank you so much for the Prime Gaming sub. I really appreciate it. But anyway, but there should be a multiplier. So a prism mining on something without an array, say 50 Luminite per. But if a prism is mining on a collection array, you double that. You get to 2x multiplier. So now it mines at 100 Luminite per. So you are very much... So that would mean that, with 4 prisms and a collection array, you'd be mining at 500 Luminite per base, which is actually kind of roughly in line with where the other races are, now that I think about it. Again, these are round numbers for the sake of example, but that would mean that getting prisms that having more saturated bases, which are then easier to harass because prisms are a little bit more harassable than the arrays are themselves. And also it's a little bit easier to track a Celestial player down, which is very, very frustrating for new players. All of that together is a very good thing. So if you want to do this kind of different economy, which is totally fine, I think that, again, I think there should be incentives for arrays to build prisms in a way that just doesn't really exist right now. But anyways, this is a bit awkward because Auriel's on the high ground. He's got more power, but the speed camp is there, so Mixu's going to be able to run away for the time being. And Mixu does have more stuff with this army. Not overall. The supply lead is very much there for Auriel. He's got 4 chambers versus the 3 chambers of Mixu. And that kind of, no, sorry, Mixu's got 4 chambers too. We're fine. But I was going to say this kind of has been the story where Auriel's getting their production a little bit faster. It's now a 5 chambers Celestial versus 4. Auriel has been getting their production just a little bit faster at the expense of their economy. Mixu has his third half base. He's got his 3rd chamber right there. He's going and doing what he can with that. Is now, the concave is not great for Mixu, but it's better than it was. He's going to have to go and drop some more. Of course, surges a power bank, gets a little bit more power in this army. He's trying to go heal some of his backline units, but Auriel just has a couple more Argents right now. So even with the power bank, even with everything else, certainly the Argents are just dying. Auriel found an opportunity, just got right on top of Mixu. And at this point, he's lost a lot of Argents. Now, of course, the Fender's advantage is very much a thing. Having a lot more powered Argents means that Auriel's going to have to back up. But that was a nice timing for Auriel. A nice little bit of an opportunity, finding a lead. And when we talk about these matchups, it very much is, can I build an advantage? Like for right now, with the speed buff, 20 seconds where you're just faster than your opponent, so you can dive right on top of them, body block the hell out of them. And yeah, notice Mixu, he's targeting some of the units that are blocking him away so he can find his way out. But even as we say that, these Argents, they're getting targeted down, even with the power bank advantage. More Argents do beat less Argents. Now, this is not, well, this might be game over. I mean, I kind of would think it is. Mixu wants to drag his opponent back into range of a Sovereign's Watch. With the numbers as low as they are, that might be enough. But the Argents, they continue to rally forward, and it's still a 4 Argent lead, a 5 Argent lead, and that makes a difference. Now, the game's not over. Certainly, Mixu defender's advantage exists. He was able to force his opponents back. He has more economy. You give him enough time and this is going to be fine. But he has to buy that time. He has to find the only opportunity. He has to find that only opportunity. And I just don't think it's going to be, it's just not really going to be there. It's very much a struggle. Hey, the Dollar Admiral. So it's always interesting, right? Attacking into these concaves is Auriel again with the speed buff, runs in, kills off some of the structures. And actually, I think the big advantage right now, if he can pull it off, is sniping these power banks over and over again. Because A, that means there's less top bar abilities. That is certainly true. But also, it means the defender's advantage of having a lot of power or a lot of energy on everything is just not really there. So for now, the Arc Ship gives high ground vision, heals off some of the units, but we're going to move in once again. We have energy on a lot of these Argents. They're going to go and take a lot of these power banks down and just back up, do it again, right? We can see how quickly the power does regenerate. Now, unfortunately, well, the Slimes are sitting here and they're attacking things as well. So it's a lot of Argents versus not a lot of Argents. Slimes, traitors that they are really helping Auriel at this point. And that feels like it may do it. Auriel fully committing at this point. Slimes are doing what they can. Someone told me that Slimes don't really kill structures, which is just not true. They do attack structures. And, well, I think Auriel at this point, I think he's got Mixu's number. This aggression just feels like it's working out a little bit too much. Mixu never got to 5th chamber. He has 4, but he never got to the 5th one. So even as his economy was better, his production always just a little bit slower. And that means that we're kind of now at the point where, yes, Argents are going to pop out. And yes, they have full energy when that happens. But even if it's full energy versus no full energy, 4 or 5 Argents versus 10 doesn't really make a difference. So Sovereign's Watch is going to get triggered once again. It's not even getting it targeted down. The Argents have to die first. And Sovereign's Watch will just not kill enough in time at this point. He may back up. But this feels kind of rough. Yeah, Kelsel again. Yeah, I fully acknowledge that Celestial Mirror is not it's not the best mirror matchup at the moment, but we'll get there. I think really it's just you rebalance the economy a little bit. You make it possible to mine Therium. You can start to do more interesting openers. It's not just going to be he who mines Therium loses the game, which is kind of where it is right now. Again, mirror matchups don't tend to be great in a bunch of different RTS games. I know Age of Empires, everything is technically a mirror matchup, but again, that's such a different RTS. That's not really a thing. Mixu's going to kite away to another power bank, and technically he could Sovereign's Watch this if he had the power, which he doesn't, and try to make that happen. But the supply lead just continues to grow at this point. Mixu, he's up 15. He's down 15 supply. Argents keep falling down. He's staying in this game because he would like to give his team a 2-0 lead. This is game 5 of our best of 5. And again, that would be the goal, but he's now being almost doubled up in supply. This is, yeah. So Mixu's going to fall down. Auriel is going to go take the first win for their team. So the captains of these two teams at this point, they've gone and they have extracted wins. Snockstar killed Flabuster. Auriel has killed Mixu. And that means that as we move into our third series, we're tied up at 1 apiece.